Let's turn to the latest on the furor around the rise of anti-Semitism on U.S. college campuses since the 7th of October. Several hundred faculty members at Harvard University have signed a petition asking school administrators not to bend to political pressure to fire the school's president over her congressional testimony. A petition was signed by at least 570 professors and was delivered to the Harvard Corporation, which has the power to fire University President Claudine Gay. The pressure coming after the president of the University of Pennsylvania, Liz McGill, resigned on Saturday. The presidents of Harvard, UPenn, and MIT declined to give a definitive yes or no answer when asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews would violate their school's codes of conduct regarding bullying and harassment, saying they had to balance it against free speech protections and it was context dependent. So for more insight, we welcome Asaf Romirowsky, Executive Director at Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, joining us from Philadelphia. Thank you so much for your time. So should she stay or should she go? This petition is asking the Harvard Corporation not to bend to political pressure here, including pressure to remove President Claudine Gay. Your thoughts?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think that the precedent we saw with Liz McGill putting pressure on her to finally have Penn have her leave, that Harvard and MIT should follow suit. That being said, there is a structural problem that we've seen in general in the academy at large, and what was exposed during these hearings is the rot in the academy at large. You've seen here the use of what is known in the United States as diversity, equity, and inclusion and critical race theory to basically defend racism in the guise of being racist at the same time. So Jews do not fall under that categorization, which is what you saw this kind of semantic use of language or stretching what is of the First Amendment to try to defend their actions by trying to say they're defending free speech while at the same time being racist toward Jews. And I think that the academy at large needs to look very carefully at what they're putting out there, which there's been a structural racism where Jews are not seen as minorities and racism and anti-Semitism is not seen as racism. And that's the reality that we've seen play out here, even though when you put actual facts on the ground, especially post-October 7th, where you're actually seeing for calls of genocide, for killings of Jews, no distinguishing between left, right, or center, that they are still unable to stand behind what is really, truly racist activity under the guise of what they're trying to play out, the use of free speech. So I think that, if you're asking me, I think that they actually have to look very carefully at their funding, at their leadership, and to actually put, and actually stand behind what these universities are supposed to be of a liberal Western university, which actually takes these issues very carefully when it comes to discrimination against Jews.
These double standards are certainly quite staggering, and it's 2023. So the University of Pennsylvania confirming that Julie Platt, the chair of the Jewish Federations of North America, will serve as the interim chair of the board. How does she tackle rampant anti-Semitism on every level on campus, not just with students, but also administrators? Talk us through the challenges here.
Well, it's more than the administration. I mean, the administration, and I would also argue the faculty, which we deal with all day long. The faculty are also a structural problem, and I would argue that, this is the argument that we've made in our organization. Faculty are forever, students come and go. But there's been a structural problematic within the faculty who, over the course, I would say, of several decades now, there's been a growth of what I would call scholar activism in replacement of scholarship. And so all of these use of protest and sending students to pro-Palestinian rallies, going and participating, calling for the genocide and killing of Jews have all been sponsored specifically within Middle East Studies departments and within the humanities at large. So when you're talking about an individual like Platt, who also serves as the chair of the JFNA, Jewish Federations of North America, I think that there has to be a real careful look at the composition of what the board is and the kind of what they're willing to tolerate, what they're not willing to tolerate. She also made it very clear in her statement that she's also going to be the interim individual until they find somebody else. But the case study of McGill, while McGill has been resigned, she's still a tenured faculty at the law school. So again, even within the structural understanding of the University of Pennsylvania, she's still going to be there teaching. And I guarantee you that whatever, they believe and say out publicly, they're also going to be teaching in their classrooms. And so that's also part of the problem itself. There has to be a larger, real concrete inside look at the structure of the university, who's teaching these topics, what is being taught in these classrooms, balance in the classroom, which is really a critical aspect when these issues, and scholarship, and that needs to be looked at very carefully, not polemics, which is what you're seeing as a result of where professors and administrators have used and abused their roles. The portfolio of anti-Semitism on most university campuses, which have invested millions of dollars in diversity, equity, and inclusion, the portfolio of anti-Semitism falls in their responsibility. They wouldn't know anti-Semitism if they saw it.
And to think these are the elite campuses in the United States, many challenges, a long road ahead. For now, thank you so much for your insights.